It's got to be real.
Yes, guys, what's going on? So we're talking some Amir Khan and Canelo Alvarez, and I just wanted to get straight into what I think Amir Khan's keys to victory are in this fight. Now, first of all, we're gonna talk about what Canelo's going to come in the ring. Now, there's two Canelos which are going to come in the ring, right? It's either going to be the Canelo who boxes or it's going to be the Canelo who's a very aggressive fighter. Now, the misconception about Canelo is that he doesn't know how to fight coming forward and he's not a very good, effective, aggressive fighter. He's a boxer who likes to counterpunch and etc, etc, etc. However, I mean, now, as I'm going to give you a personal example. Now, if I jump in the ring with 80% of fighters, anybody who's in my weight class, I'm going to come forward and I'm very aggressive. I like to bob and weave and I'm going to come forward. And that's how I've been for quite a while. And I'm an aggressive fighter, but with that comes some negatives as well. There's some downsides to being an aggressive fighter. Like mentally, it's a lot easier for you because you don't have in your mind that you're going to get knocked out, spark out, because you're trying to knock the other guy out, your chin's tucked down, and you've got that sort of aggressive style, and you're not really worried about that person pressuring you, loading up squat. You know, the main worry is you might get outboxed, which is not as worrying as getting yourself knocked out. So, having said this though, when we look into Amir Khan fighting Canelo, the thing about Canelo is, back to my example, if I'm in the ring with someone who's very, very heavy, a lot heavier than me, and outside of my weight class, am I still going to be coming forward, bobbing, weaving, jabbing, crossing, trying to exchange? No, I'm not, because what's going to happen is if I try to do that, and I try to come in my bob and weave style, and I'm trying to hook with the guy, what happens if he hits me back? What happens when he starts loading up on the body shots, and he's bigger and stronger than me on the inside? It'd be stupid for me to do that. So what would I do in that situation? If he's a lot bigger than me, I'd like to think I'm going to have a bit of a speed differential there. I'm going to have a bit of a speed advantage against this person. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to fight short anymore. I'm going to fight tall. I'm going to jab. I'm going to move. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to box. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to try to combat what he's bringing into the ring, which is a significant size advantage. So now Amir Khan is bringing a significant speed advantage. He's bringing he's bringing a better amateur pedigree. Amir Khan is bringing boxing capability. He's bringing pivoting, movement, boxing. He's gonna come to box. Obviously, Amir Khan's coming to box. Canelo's camp know this. So, why would Canelo come into the ring and try and box an expert boxer? He might be able to box out Amir. I mean, I don't think it's out of the question that Canelo Alvarez can't outbox Amir Khan. It's possible. Canelo's a really good boxer, but I mean, when you take into account the speed, you take into account the foot movement and the punch output, obviously you'd have to favour Amir Khan in the boxing match. But I mean, Canelo's camp know this, so what do you think they're going to do? You think they're just going to come there and box like they did against Cotto? No. Canelo is going to come in very aggressive. That's what I'm expecting from Canelo, to come in very aggressive. And his game plan A, he's going to have a game plan A and a game plan B. I don't think there's not going to be really a need for a C, D, and E, right? Game plan A is going to be outbox Amir and just box him. Game plan B is going to be aggressive. Or it might be the other way around. We don't know how he's going to do it. We don't know how Canelo's going to come in the ring. But we know he's going to have two game plans. And they're going to be his two game plans. Now, Amir Khan, right? If Canelo comes in the ring, right? And he's very aggressive, right? Amir Khan's going to have... He's gonna have his hands full. Because we've seen in the second half of the Erislandy Lara fight, Canelo can be very aggressive to the body, and even in the first half of the fight, he was very aggressive in terms of the body punching, and Lara can take it to the body, but Amir Khan's frame is naturally 135 pounds. I don't think Erislandy Lara would ever have been able to make 135 at any point in his career. So Amir's body is going to be really getting tagged hard by Canelo. So what is Amir Khan's number one key to victory? Amir's number one key to victory is actually something he shouldn't do. He should never ever, and this might sound a bit obvious, but he should never stand in front of Canelo. Now, what do I mean by stand in front of Canelo? What I mean is, if you're here, I don't mean, right, where you get up close, and because we've seen Amir do this with Collazo, because we can't really compare the old Amir Khan, we have to compare the Amir Khan that's been under Virgil. He comes close, and he'll put his head guard high, and he'll exchange some hooks and some uppercuts with Chris Algieri, or he'll grab he'll pivot and he'll move. You can do that with fighters at your weight class, but you can't do that with someone like Canelo, who is going to have a significant natural strength advantage to you. Amir can't do that. Amir has to keep this at long range, and we've seen Amir in training, right? He's been keeping. I mean, if we look at this hand, right, just right like this, yeah. If you take a look at this, Amir Khan, when he's been fighting recently, he's been boxing. When you box, right, you can keep your hand here, and your jab will have more power because it's got more space to travel. Or you can keep your jab a little bit more forward, closer to the target, and it's better to box in this stance if you're looking to just outbox your opponent and not necessarily hurt them. When you keep this hand closer, so it's closer to your target, right? And also, Amir needs to not be anything like this. He needs to keep the target really small, like Mayweather does. Mayweather fights shoulder roll. He's really here. You throw a punch here, bang, and the target area of Mayweather at this point will be very, very small. It's not very He's not likely to get hit and tagged to the body as hard when you've got such a small target area. If you're like this and you're fighting like this, you've got more power for your hooks. But the problem is that your body's going to get tagged a lot, very, very hard. So Amir Khan needs to cut down his target area, right? And he needs to box quite in a very orthodox fashion, a very old school boxing style fashion. Put the hand a little bit forward and jab. Bang, bang, bang. Keep Canelo at range. Keep him at range and never ever go in like this, because I've seen Amir against Kalaz and these guys. He goes in, he trades. He's still trading. And yeah, you can keep your right hand up when you throw your hooks. But eventually, something's going to come. It could come up from here. It could come up from up here. It could be a million and one punch. It might just be a straight cross right down the pipe from Canelo Alvarez. So Amir Khan, he needs to keep his body very straight up like this. He needs to keep his height, right? There's no point in crouching in this fight because Canelo fights really low down. If Amir Khan doesn't utilize his slight height advantage, which I think he has, it's not going to be good for him. He needs to keep his height tall. He needs to keep his hand here. He needs to box. He needs to use his reach. Keep Canelo at a distance. Keep Canelo at a distance. Do not allow Canelo Alvarez to come inside. It brings me on to the second thing. Amir Khan needs to use what we call a paw jab. Okay, it's where what Amir Khan needs to do is when he's boxing Canelo and this hand's here, he needs to sometimes he's gonna need to just put his hand out and just maneuver Canelo. And Virgil Hunter's taught Khan how to do this. Maneuver Canelo. It'll blind him. It'll blind him like this. Now Canelo could be coming with a straight right hand, but you see Amir Khan needs to blind Canelo. Now what an aggressive fighter will do, like Canelo Alvarez, who's going to be fighting his body's going to be totally exposed. He's going to be fighting here. Right, he's going to be moving back. He's going to be doing straight lead left hand across here. By him being slightly blinded by this paw jab, what Amir Khan needs to stick out. Muhammad Ali used to do it against Joe Frazier a lot. Just touch the back of your head, put you down a little bit, keep you at range, keep you at that range, blind you. Canelo Alvarez, he's going to be moving his head, right, with this. And it's going to take a lot of energy up. You see, moving around like this is going to take a lot of energy up, trying to see through this. You see? And then every time, because you've got certain lines of defense. Amir Khan's feet need to be quite forward, you see, because if Amir Khan's left foot is quite forward, you can't see my feet, but if Amir Khan's left foot is quite forward, right, it gives him a lot of room to just be able to pull back, you see? Now, so what Amir needs to do, right, he needs to keep lines of defense, you see? This is your defense 1, okay? This is your defense 2. He needs to be very, very wary of Canelo Alvarez's power, and he has to keep Canelo at range. He can't be going in, grappling with Canelo. You can forget about grappling. Amir Khan should not grapple with Canelo. He should not be there holding Canelo. He should not hold. He has to keep Canelo at a distance at all times. If at any time Canelo gets inside, if Amir Khan's holding him, Canelo's going to rough him. He's going to throw him, and you can't pivot Canelo. I'll be very surprised if Amir Khan can pivot Canelo. What I mean by pivot, I mean swerve him, throw him against the ropes. I don't think Amir Khan's gonna have the power to do that. What he has to do is keep Canelo at a range, keep him at the end of the paw jab, bang, use the right hand. Amir Khan's right hand is gonna be so fast he could throw it as a lead against Canelo. But then you see the other thing is Canelo has a good eye and he's got a good defense. But I don't think that Canelo's ever seen anything even close to the speed of Amir Khan. Amir Khan's coming from 147. He's gonna be very fast. You see, he's gonna be very, very fast. Irrespective if he bulks up or not, Khan's going to be very, very fast for Canelo. But Saul Canelo Alvarez, right, he is going to get tagged by Amir Khan's punches. And Canelo doesn't have a bad defense. And you see, defense is a lot about controlling your range. If you can control a range in a fight, that's your defense. You can fight. I mean, Cassius Clay, correct me if I'm wrong, he used to fight with his hands down. He didn't have no shoulder roll. Cassius Clay, the young Cassius Clay, he didn't have no high head guard. Cassius Clay used to be fighting like this, and what would he do? He'd just basically make his opponent miss by literally that much. Opponent would try to punch him, he would just pull back just a little bit, just enough to pull back time. Bang! Sonny Liston, they call it the phantom punch, where Sonny Liston threw his punch, Cassius Clay just moved back a little bit, clipped Sonny Liston with a beautiful counter punch, knocked him out, made history, right? So in the second fight. So range control is everything, and if Canelo can manage to control range against Amir Khan's going to be in some trouble. So it's very important for Amir Khan to control the range, to use his expert boxing, which he does have, right? To keep his hand, his jab, he's doing well. I've seen him in training, he's doing it right. Practicing with his left hand quite forward, right? Keeping it closer to the opponent so you don't have to travel as much to bang, bang, bang. You could just keep nicking at him. Because it doesn't make a difference if Amir Khan's throwing a jab from here to here with more power or he's throwing it from here to here, because it's not going to hurt Canelo. The jabs are not going to hurt Canelo. It's not going to catch Canelo's attention. The only thing Amir Khan's got is he might be able to mark Canelo's face up, because Canelo does get bruised up a bit. He can get cut up a bit. So maybe Amir Khan might need to focus on that. But if Amir Khan's here, right, and he's got his jab here, for a power punch, he's still got the straight right hand, which you can just turn into that. He's still got that there available for him. So for Amir Khan, it's very important to control the range, keep his lines of defense, keep his feet planted firmly, right, and be able to move in and out really quickly. He has to time Canelo's punches and move back at the right times. He's got to be very quick on his feet, but he can't be running constantly backwards. Amir Khan's had the tendency in the past, right? So when he fought Lamont Peterson, is the best example, is you start running around the ring and your opponent can time. You see, when a person is running around the ring, right, the aggressive fighter can come forward and time the running. If you're running that way, they'll time you going that way. But if you don't run and you just stay right in front of your opponent at a slightly safe distance, because boxing isn't really out of range, in range, mid-range. It's actually a bit of everything. You come kind of coming back and forth. But if you're at a range where it's kind of difficult for your opponent to tag you, but they can tag you, but you just move back at that very last second, just enough by just them inches to make him miss just slightly and counter punch him. That's what you need to do in boxing. You don't need to be 2 feet away, because you're wasting energy to get that extra 2 feet away that you don't need. And you've got to be able to control boxing by inches and literally centimeters of making your opponent miss and counter punching him and pivoting and moving your whole torso, which brings me on to the next thing. Amir Khan, he shouldn't be running. He needs to make Canelo miss just by enough, and he needs to control the range of the fight. The other thing that he needs to do, which is very, very important against Canelo, is when he does move, he needs to move his entire body out of the picture. Because, see, when Amir Khan's here and Canelo's in front of him and Amir Khan just jabs it, bam, bam, Canelo's going to come with some punches, right? Sometimes they're going to be at the body, sometimes they're going to be at the head. Now, Amir Khan cannot afford, right, to leave his body exposed and to take punches to the body at the expense of taking punches to the face, if you know what I mean. Like, not at the expense of... He can't afford to take punches to the body just to avoid taking punches to the face, because the body's in a break. You know what they say, kill the body, the head will follow. So Amir Khan needs to move his entire body out of range, which means he needs to use his feet a lot. His feet have to be so mobile. 12 rounds, he has to move them feet. When Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo's not going to come 80 to 100 punches in a round every round. He's not going to do that. He's going to use his bursts. And what Amir Khan needs to do is when Canelo throws his burst, Amir Khan should just make Canelo miss, bam, counter punch him, and literally jump straight out of the way and move his entire body well out of that punching range. And I was talking before about making Canelo miss by an inch. He needs to do that to get the counter punches in. And Amir Khan sometimes is going to need to let his hands go first as well. But, Canelo's a really good counter punch. All it takes is one good counter punch to Amir Khan's face, and Amir Khan will drop on the floor. He will get hurt, and he will wobble from Canelo's punching power. It is there, believe me. So I think that these are the most important things that Amir Khan needs to do. In terms of preparation for the fight, I think Amir Khan needs to build his core and his torso a lot. Like, his core, this segment here, needs to be built as much as he can to be able to withstand the body punching that Canelo Alvarez is going to bring in this fight. And I think the body punching is going to be key for Canelo, but we'll go into Canelo Alvarez's keys to victory later. For Amir Khan, he has to. So let's just cover what we've talked about. Amir Khan, he needs to keep his target area right really small by keeping his shoulder right in line with Canelo. Second thing, he needs to keep his lead left hand closer to Canelo. Not so much, not further back, more closer to Canelo, just to be able to tag him, keep him at a better range so he doesn't have to travel as far to catch Canelo. Because if Amir Khan can avoid the right hand, it's better off to avoid that because he can be counter-punched with a left hook. As soon as you throw the right hand, even if you cover up your chin with your shoulder, you're still susceptible to some hits to the head here, to the body here, you're exposed. Amir Khan needs to try jab, throw the check hook, move, pivot. He needs to use his boxing. He's got expert boxing. He needs to use it. He needs to not give Canelo any sort of target area. Amir Khan has to control range really, really well in this fight. Amir Khan has to, when he throws his jab, he needs to cover up from there because Canelo's going to be coming with some right hands, and if it does connect, it's better to be able to roll it. You know, if Amir Khan's here and he throws that jab, and Canelo comes, you know, if you've got a jab coming towards you and Canelo thinks, yeah, but I'll just throw a right hook. Wild right hook comes. If Amir Khan's here, and he throws a jab like that, and his chin comes up in the air, he's gonna get caught clipped right here. Amir Khan needs to keep his stance here, keep himself not square on at all. He needs to keep his jab hand really forward. When he throws that jab, he needs to cover up with the shoulder, and he needs to put his right hand up as well. So it's bam. That's what he needs to do. Is keep it here, right? Boxing, bam. Just jab. And literally cover up, right? He needs to keep his chin so tucked down that Canelo won't stand a chance to be able to clip him. If it does clip, roll with it, right? He needs to move. He needs to be fast. Amir Khan has to be so fast in this fight in terms of his body movement. His reaction timing has to be perfect. He has to really fight a perfect fight in this fight. What else could I say for Amir Khan? What he needs to do? He needs to make Canelo... Because I don't think it's going to be possible for Amir Khan to make Canelo respect his power, but... You see, this is the thing. I don't know how hard Amir Khan can punch at this weight class. I mean, we can comment on it, but if he's allowed to weigh 155 pounds, I don't know what he needs to do in this fight in terms of preparation to get his punching power to that. Because I know what he needs to do. Like, I could tell him what to do, and, you know, his trainer could tell him what to do, Tony Brady's strength trainer, and get his weight up. But, I mean, the thing I think is, how much weight can you possibly put on in that sort of time period? I mean, okay, you could take some growth hormone, you could take some, you know, some HGH, you could take some gear, right? But then you're getting tested, and I don't know what the blood and urine tests are in this fight, and I don't know, you know, there's all sorts of, like, elite level athletes have a lot of access to a lot of drugs and PEDs and performance enhancing drugs, and I'm sure Canelo would have taken something at some point. All these elite fighters have taken stuff, right? But I mean, like, I don't know what he could take to help his muscle increase, and I don't know if he will be taking anything, if he has taken anything. I don't know, like, I struggle to see how much muscle you can put on to get yourself up to that sort of weight where Canelo's at. I mean, if Amir Khan could stack on quite a bit of muscle, I don't really know how much, but if he could stack on quite a lot of pure muscle around his torso in the right places, you know, you could be looking at quite a dangerous Amir Khan. He could have some pop there, and if he has enough pop to keep Canelo respecting him, then Amir Khan can win this fight. But otherwise, it's going to be really... I think what makes this fight so hard for Amir is that I don't think he's got enough power to hurt Canelo, and it's not disrespect to Amir. It's just saying, like, I mean, a 147-pound boxer coming up from low weight classes to go and carry power to 170s, you know, it's difficult. It's really hard to do that. I mean, I think if Amir Khan had a bit more time, he might be able to rack up some weight. But I don't know what his body's looking at like right now. I don't know how much he's been doing weight training. I don't know what sort of weight he's currently at. And these are factors which we're going to see on the night before on the weigh-in. And that's what I'll be able to tell you what I really think of what's going to happen in this fight, and how much of a chance Amir Khan stands. Because I think the biggest thing that Amir Khan is going to face is whether he can make Canelo think twice before coming in. Because if Canelo thinks twice before coming in because Amir Khan's punches actually bother him, that they are stinging and they are coming at so bang, and he thinks, you know what, I wouldn't like that again. But if it's just at a point where it's just such pity-patty that Canelo's like, he laughs at and he comes forward, then Amir Khan's in trouble because you can't keep Canelo at bay. Like Lara could keep Canelo at bay a little bit because Canelo was like a lion coming in, and Lara would just bang bang southpaw, bang. Lara was southpaw, right? Bam bam, just straight. Yeah, the straight left would come. Right, straight left would just come to Canelo, and Canelo was getting hit back, and he was thinking to himself twice before walking in. He was thinking defense before walking in. He had to use the head movement before coming in with a jab. Right, but if he's not got no respect, he doesn't need a jab. He doesn't have to come in with any sort of head movement. He could just walk Amir Khan down, and just constantly, just absolutely go for broke against Amir. I mean, boxing will go straight out the window if he doesn't respect Amir Khan's power. So Amir Khan has to bring some significant power to this fight. However he does it, he needs to do it. So leave your comment section below, subscribe as always. These are the keys to victory for Amir Khan. For me, he has to box a perfect fight. He has to bring some power. He has to give Canelo Alvarez no room to be able to attack Amir Khan's body, because he does have a small frame coming from a low weight class, and Canelo will load up on them shots. When he moves, Amir Khan needs to move his entire body. Sometimes when he's there, he needs to move literally by inches and just counter punch Canelo. These are things Amir Khan needs to do in this fight to win this. I think, let me think if I could think of anything else. Not really. He needs to be very wary of Canelo's punching power. He needs to be fast, he needs to be very mobile. Stay off the ropes, obviously, that goes without saying. Don't be getting in range and grappling with this guy. These are things Amir Khan needs to do. No inside fighting against Canelo. He needs to use the boxing, keep him on the outside. Watch Muhammad Ali, watch Cassius Clay. They're the fighters he needs to watch. He needs to watch the boxers of history. Not so much the Sugar Ray Leonards, because Sugar Ray Leonard could go on the inside and sometimes he used to fight. He needs to watch Cassius Clay, who used to box on the outside. And that's the sort of fight Amir Khan needs to fight. He needs to keep moving, dance around that ring. He needs to dance around that ring. You're going to be in with a lion, Amir. You've got 12 rounds to survive. You survive against 12 against Canelo, you win the fight. Comment section below, subscribe as always. In a bit.